Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Trident Talks. We're delighted to launch a new series called Cyber CEO, and it's an opportunity to give leaders within the space a chance to talk about their journey to date, life as a CEO or founder of a business during 2023, and an opportunity for them to talk more about their business. So super exciting series, and I'm equally as excited to welcome Mark Gascoigne, who's CEO at Reliance Cyber. Mark, thanks for joining us. How are you doing?
Hi, yeah, really good to see you. Thanks for inviting us along. Yeah, I'm doing really well, thank you.
No worries, nice. It's a good type of spam that lands in your inbox, I guess. So yeah, thanks for joining us. For those that don't know you, would you like to give a little introduction into who you are and what you're currently doing?
Yeah, of course. I've got a bit of an interesting varied background, but I guess the two key themes are a combination of aeroplanes and cybersecurity / security and defence. And I've bounced in and around both of those over the last, makes me sound a bit older than I thought I was hoping to be. So over the last 25 years or so, passionate about both. Shells behind me in my office still covered in aeroplanes. And very pleased to be now back here. I've been at Reliance for just over 3 years. Joined as the Chief Operating Officer, and I currently run the ship and also wear the CFO hat as well. So I wear a number of different hats here. But yeah, thoroughly enjoying it. And I think where I've ended up is probably the culmination of a lot of different experiences, learning from a lot of, frankly, great mentors and leaders I've worked for in the past, which hopefully allow me to do a decent job of steering the ship here at Reliance Cyber.
Okay, awesome. Thanks for the intro. We can unpack all of that. Question is, being a high-profile job now, and you're into aeroplanes, do you get much time to still explore that world? Don't you? If you've got a private jet, keep that quiet, because you know.
if only. No, I used to look after people that had private jets in a previous life. So aside from the aeroplanes on my walls at the moment, not as much as I'd like. I do have a harbour ambition to get my private pilot's license at some point in time in the future, but right now, kind of one of the points we'll pick up on the goods and bads of being a CEO. I simply don't have the time to devote to picking up the skills to fly airplanes right now. But I live under the flight path for Farnborough Airport, so I get to look up and see them coming over quite a lot.
If what it is to dream, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But okay, cool. So I guess digging into your journey today a little bit more, where did it all begin? And did you kind of have ambitions? Was it you wanted to go CFO or CEO? How did that even begin?
Yeah, so by background, I guess, and training, I'm an avionics engineer, hence the aeroplane tag. So a very technical background, and the first several years of my career were very technical. And I guess the journey to where I am now started, I got into business operations when I was at a company called Detica back in early 2000s. Joined as a consultant, but ended up very quickly getting into the broader context of operation running of a business. So a bit of finance, a bit of resourcing, a bit of planning, strategy, projects, delivery. And actually, that set me on a path along the route of wanting to, my career aim was COO. So I did a number of different roles on that career path in a couple of different businesses. Again, worked for some fantastic leaders and learned from them over the period, and was very fortunate to join here then as COO 3 years ago. So it was a culmination of lots of kind of learnings and experiences from sales operations in a big banknote printer through to consultancy operations. I was Director of Cyber Ops at BA Systems Applied Intelligence back in the day. So it all came together, partly through hard work, partly through serendipity, as is always the case with these things. And then the journey from, I guess, there to where I am now in the big chair, if you like, again, partially serendipity. So one of my mentors and career coaches over the years, who was the chief exec here, had the ability to be able to go off and pseudo retire and take up a plural career, which is something I'd aspire to in my future years. And I had the opportunity. I was asked by our shareholder and owner here to take over the reins in January this year, and absolutely jumped at the opportunity to kind of take that kind of next step up to when you're in that chair rather than working to that chair, I guess.
Awesome. And it seems to be all be going well. So that's great. So I guess what I want to touch on very quickly is, you mentioned this a few times already, is mentors. So I think there's a huge issue at the top when it comes to leadership and your next roles and your career trajectory, right? At what point did you sit there and think, oh gosh, I need a mentor or a life coach or someone to guide me in a senior role?
I guess perhaps fortunately, I almost fell into it, and I can remember vividly. It was back in, I'm guessing, I'm trying to do the maths, probably about 2005, and I'm not sure it was a formal mentoring relationship, but a chap I worked for back then, who I'm still in contact with. It was just, I was very fortunate in that business back in Detica that was just the culture of, people just, you could go and talk to anyone senior in the business, anyone in a different type of business, and they would just impart their knowledge and spend time coaching you, helping you, just being open to discussions. And I guess that's been a kind of thing I've kind of followed through with a number of different people that I've worked for and with, and have kept in contact with, interestingly, as I've changed roles over the years. And now I fundamentally feel it's something that can benefit literally anybody. And we have a coaching and mentoring scheme here at Reliance, for example. It needs to be very much a two-way thing. And I think you've got to be very careful to distance it from, there's different things there, isn't there? There's line management and someone you can look up to in the day job. But then there's someone you can have a conversation with about what do you really want to get out of your day job, your personal life, that balance, where you're aspiring to get to. And I think for me, I've always been fortunate. I've had those people I can reach out to, either when I've been questioning, my own choices or where I want to go next, and just have a sounding board to really kind of explore that with, all the way through to, we've had a team coach and a coach is working with us, some of us as individuals, where I am now. So the journey never stops. I think anyone who thinks they kind of get to the point where they can't benefit from someone else's input is probably missing a trick.
Exactly. I think there is a saying, it might be wrong, the second you stop learning, you stop living. I don't know where that came from. It's in the back of my head somewhere. We could say Charlee Ryman 2023 on that quote if you want. But I think it's really important, the whole mentoring thing. It is a two-way street. You have to be prepared to put the work in both sides, right? And from a personal perspective, I've been thinking about it recently as well. It's okay, what's the next step? And you never know what you don't know until you can be put in that situation, right? So I think it's really important. You can never kind of get complacent, right? So talk to me a little bit about what life is like as a CEO, specifically this year. Has it been good? Has it been bad? Obviously, inflation rates, economy, a lot of businesses have been shrinking, some growing. What's it been like for yourself at Reliance?
So, it's probably two or three things in there. So for me personally, obviously a fantastic opportunity. I literally took on the top table on January the 1st. So came back in the new year with a new set of challenges. Very much of the comfort of having a great team around me, which is a very different thing to taking on a new role in a new business at that time. I think we've been, the market is tough. I think everyone is seeing a tough market. And that's tough for our clients because, frankly, even though cybersecurity is massively top of people's agendas and worry bead lists, so is the fact that the global economy is not in the state we would all like it to be. The conflict in Ukraine is still ongoing. Inflation in the UK. We're very much a UK-centric business, although we have staff and clients overseas. So in the face of that, you've got to be really sensitive to your client's pressures, but also your staff and the people who work around you, because it affects every business, it affects every individual. So we've been pretty lucky you make your own luck to some extent, that we continue to grow. We've been on a pretty strident growth journey for certainly the last few years. It's definitely tougher, but I think that's everybody seeing that. But on the flip side of that, I'm also seeing the benefits we're very fortunate to be backed by a family office rather than perhaps a private equity, or we don't have massive debts to service. So from our perspective as a company, we're in a very healthy, strong position, which is something I'm very thankful for to our investors. But but we're still going great guns. We're winning business. We're still on track to grow. We've grown every year on year. We're on track to grow again. We're not complacent about that, because clients have got choice, a lot of choice, and that's probably one of the biggest and most interesting pressures in cybersecurity. Just the sheer volume of competition, you have to be able to differentiate in new and different ways. And I think that's where, and the reason we met, Charlie, was you work in recruitment in our industry very specifically, and bringing in people that can help us on this journey is what it's all about. As you know, we don't have our own tools and things. We're not building software and kind of going to market with that kind of play. It's all about our people, and repeatedly, that's the thing we focus on, because we focus on our people and our clients. The rest, all the noise of the business operational stuff we've got to do behind that, should be the stuff backing those two things up.
It's so refreshing to hear that one of the first things that came out of your mouth when I asked that question was, yes, it's been a bad economy, but well, not a bad economy. It's been a difficult year, but your clients are also going through that, and your team are going through that. Before you even mentioned your service offering or anything like that, which as soon as you gave a plug about the whole recruitment thing, it's obviously such a small world, right? I know a few of your clients, the CISOs that you work with, and they say good things as well. So it's really refreshing to hear that, and I think you're right. It's all around the team you're surrounded with, right? And it's good you're in a financially good position to be able to kind of support that. What's been the hardest thing to date that you've had to do in a leadership role? Not specifically with Reliance, it can be any company, you don't have to kind of name it, but what's the biggest struggle you faced?
I think the biggest challenge is, for me, it always comes down to if you have to make difficult decisions about individuals and about people. And that is not specific to this company. It's the same in, I think, every business goes through phases of the journey. And sometimes as a leader in any business, you have to make difficult decisions. Ultimately, you do have a duty to the shareholders, to the business at large, to show my age and quote Mr. Spock, the needs of the many and the needs of the one, right? So sometimes you end up, there's no one else to pass the buck to when you're the CEO. Mm-hmm. Ultimately, you work as a team, but if difficult decisions have got to be made that affect individuals or people, that's always a really difficult decision where, you have to really weigh up the pros and cons and the consequences of the decisions you're taking. But I suspect every leader in every business in every sector ends up being faced with those difficult decisions at one point in time and another in their career. And I think as long as you approach it with a high emotional intelligence level and a kind of a treat it sensitively, that's the best you can hope for. Those kind of ones are. Now, we could all say, right, losing a contract. Fortunately, we don't. That doesn't happen very often, but it's still, no one ever wants to have that news in your inbox, and you want to live every day for the positives and the wins and the great news stories. But it's simply not like that, is it? Running a business, you know this from running your business, and that's probably the type of challenge that no one relishes, but needs to be done.
Yeah, we've obviously being a co-founder of Trident, we've had some decisions to make in the past as well. And someone said to me before, from a business perspective, you might have, and we're not talking about Reliance or Trident here, but you might have a team of a family of like 50 awesome people that you'd love to work with, and I don't know, 10 of those might not be performing, and you've got to think about the other 40 within that business. You also need to protect them, because then if the business doesn't survive, you've now got 50 people you have to get rid of. So I think anytime we're faced with a decision like that, I try to look at all possible outcomes. I think you hit the nail on the head when it comes to the right level of emotional intelligence, just to understand how that's going to be received. I think obviously over the last couple of years, we've had stories around people firing people over Zoom calls. I like to think that doesn't happen anymore. I can emphasize with that. So how about the best bit? What keeps you motivated at the top? If you don't really have someone saying, "Oh, good job, Mark, well done," your appraisal, you get 10 out of 10 or anything. What keeps you motivated?
So actually, I have to be so everyone has a boss, right? And I have a chairman, and he, he is very supportive, and the board is very supportive, which is a great place. As a CEO, it can be quite lonely at times, particularly if you're interfacing between a board and the rest of the business.
It's going to get even lonelier when you get your pilot's license and want to see the plane up there.
That's very true. That's very true. But what keeps me, I'm very much back to my people theme, right? I enjoy and look forward to the interactions with the team around me and the broader set of people that work in our business. We're fortunate in that we did a big all-staff event gathering a couple of months back, kick off the year. And I'm still just about, despite my failing brain cells, can just about remember everybody's name and face in the business. And that, for me, is awesome. I've worked in some really, really big companies, and that's good for different reasons. And this gets onto our favourite topic of do you work from home or work in the office, right? But going back to having that balance where I can go into the office and enjoy a bit of banter and a conversation and say hello to one of the team, chat about what's going on, sharing the good stuff, but also, sharing the challenges sometimes to, see us working together to carry on this journey of building this business. That for me is what gets me out of bed every day. Is I know we've got great people and great things we can do for our clients. There's bags of opportunity, despite the fact it's a difficult market. So what keeps me engaged and enthused week on week is just that challenge. But it's in the environment. That's for me the thing. You've got to be in an environment that people around you want that same thing, and I'm very fortunate to have a great team of people around me.
That's good. That's good. I think I work much better in the office because we're surrounded by an awesome team and bounce ideas off people. But when the start of COVID, I preferred working from home. I thought this was brilliant. This is great. Wake up, go to the gym, have my own time, do everything I need to do. But now it's the flip side. I just want to be back in the office. So talk to me about Reliance then. What is it you do? For those that don't know, what is it you do, and what do you think your, USPs are?
Yeah, so for the eagle-eyed amongst your regulars, you'll spot that we changed our name to Reliance Cyber back in January as part of our rebrand, which stopped all the questions around what does the acronym ACSN stand for. So we are absolutely pure play cybersecurity, and I say that quite passionately because there's lots of things you can do around cybersecurity that stray into IT or broader consulting or tech delivery. We're not. The thing that binds the 85, I think at last count, people that work in our business is we all enjoy and work in cybersecurity. So, and people don't want to hear me bleat on about a big pitch about what we do. I'll very happily pick that phone up and have a conversation, but we do everything from, we can come and pen test a system for you at one end of the spectrum to run a massive global corporations outsourced managed security, be that an XDR service, a managed firewall service. Interestingly, these days our clients talk a lot about the convergence of those. So how do they work together to reduce things like mean time to detect, mean time to respond, to fundamentally protect clients from cyber risks. And this is where it gets the CEO job gets hard again. We're in it for the long term with our clients. So many of our clients will do small engagements over a quite protracted period of time just to help them on a journey, because we're more mid-market. That's our main space. Budgets are tight. So you can't expect to just walk into a client and go, boff, spend this big pot of money on a bunch of stuff. So we very much want to take our clients and work them on that journey. And some clients come to us and have very, very immature, almost no cybersecurity protection needs, understanding even of how the business risk needs to be addressed. Some clients come to us and you respond to they've got quite a lot of maturity. They're coming for a specific service or offering that we can meet. But I think we play in the whole field there. The core tenet of that still being back to having great people who are passionate about delivering in partnership with the folks we work with. And that's the other thing I really enjoy is the interaction with the clients, back to what's good about being the CEO job. I love having a conversation with a client where the most rewarding things when I get a one-liner from a client telling me how great one of the individuals somewhere in the team was. And it's you never get the feedback that the CEO is great, right? We all know that, because it's not. It's that one line that says, won't call out any names, did this, thank you very much for this great bit of, they helped us out in a jam, 2:00 in the morning on a Saturday or something. And that's actually a link back to the old aviation days where, if you run in the Scottish Ambulance Services, one of the clients I used to have, helping people save lives at 2 a.m. For me, that's where you've got to have people are passionate about what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we pitch ourselves.
It's really good. You've got to be passionate about what you do. The business you've got to do something different, right? So our mission is kind of helping our clients fight cybercrime by servicing their talent needs quicker than anyone else. So everyone's kind of bought into that. It's got to have meaning. So that's really good. And it's good to hear also that it's a lot of MSSPs. Well, not actually, I don't want to like tarnish everyone on the same brush. There are a few companies out there that don't understand clients' needs. So I host an innovation forum, and we had one forum previously where it was just made aware. It's like, how we're speaking to CISOs, how do you upskill, and we're speaking to other owners of other companies, how do you upskill your sales team to really identify what a client needs? So you're not pitching a 10, 20 grand service when actually they only need a £2,000 service or something like that. It creates so much more longevity, right, within security. And now, given this year, not everyone, there's a lot of companies now that are, people are getting, dare I say it, a bit desperate, right? Desperate to make sales because the buying audiences are bigger. There's the lead times are a lot longer. So the quality is dropping. But then equally, there is some really good qualities. People are just like beyond hungry now because they need to make things a success. So as a business, you need to kind of make sure you have that quality and have the client's needs at the forefront at all times. But then also you've got to look after your internal people as well, right? But it sounds like you guys are doing some good stuff. We could talk about how you're going to implement AI or what your thoughts are with AI and automation, but we could speak for hours about that. But it gives us a good feel of what you guys do. So what would be your advice to, I don't know, someone who's just joined Reliance, be it an analyst, an engineer, or a consultant, or even, I don't know, maybe someone in HR? What would your advice be to them if they want to climb all the way to the top?
So I think lots of people have that ambition. Some people don't, and that's something that's really important to recognise. Not everybody can get to the top, whatever the definition of the top is, and not everyone needs to or wants to, and that is something that is also really important when you're building a broader team. If you're not careful and you have 85 people who all want to be the CEO, you can create a culture like, the old back in the 90s in the financial services sector, the movies about it, where everyone's kind of fighting each other, kind of clamber up the top, not at the risk of dissing the financial services sector. So I think it's having a little bit of, it's back to that emotional sensitivity around what can you bring to the party now. Back to our mentoring conversation, find people to help you understand the things they've done to get on to do that journey. And it's very rarely, in my experience, a straight line. It's very rarely I'm going to do this, then that, then that, then that, and then I can map out in 7 years' time I'm going to be one of those. I'm not saying you can't do it like that, but I think have some mindfulness in your own space to think about what that means for you. Why do you want that thing? And what do you need as an individual to build your skill set around to be credible, to get those opportunities, but that you'll be comfortable in those opportunities when you get there? By that, I mean, I knew for years I wanted to be a COO. It probably took me 7 or 8 years, maybe 10 years from first starting operations. I kind of made a point of trying to get different experiences, even if I didn't enjoy the experiences. Resource management in a big consultancy is a thankless job when you're day in, day out trying to manage where 300 people are going and what job they're going to do and what timesheet they're going to book to. But if you don't put in the hard yards and build that proper understanding of what those roles and what the broader business context of what you're doing is, you end up just on a kind of a one straight line type of path. So take advantage of every opportunity you can get. I think in a smaller business, you've got to understand, and I'm quite open about this with our teams, you might get to a point where someone needs skills and experiences they can't get in your business because of the size, the scale, the type of thing. That's okay. If you get to that point in your career, have an open conversation about that with someone at your company. Go off and get some other experiences. Keep in touch with the alumni, and hopefully that person will come back to you one day when they've got those experiences or the company's got the opportunities for them. So I think it's great to be hungry. You've got to have a little bit of kind of, personal self-awareness that, you do need some level of skill, understanding and experience behind you. And just take every opportunity every day. You said it right at the beginning. Probably isn't a day that goes by where I don't learn something. And that's 25 years into my career. And I think if you approach anything with that mindset, that it's a constant learning journey, you'll get setbacks, you'll get really good days, you'll get terrible days, and we all have those. But just keep that focus and work your network to help you get there.
Some really good advice there. Look where you want to get to, reverse engineer it. Again, it's okay if you don't want to get there. But one thing that, again, was quite refreshing, there's been a few refreshing moments throughout this, is you're openly sitting there saying, if you can't get that experience where you are, it's okay to go look elsewhere. I suppose as a brand, as an employer, that will always last in someone's memory, right? And sometimes I've seen companies, if they can, they will craft a role for you or a direction for you if they can. So people shouldn't be scared to kind of voice what they want. So that's really good to hear. But Mark, it's been great. Thanks so much for spending the time with us, telling us about Reliance and your journey. I'm sure if anyone's got any questions, that you're happy for them to reach out to you directly.
Yeah, cool.
And yeah, keep up the good work. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you very much for the chat. Always a pleasure to chat to you, Charlie. And yeah, been really good to share.
Cheers, Mark. Thanks.